Welcome to the Alpha Girl Confidence Podcast, where we are empowering youth female athletes to play and live confidently. My name is Shay Haddo, and each week I will bring you new episodes to teach you the strategies and tools that you need in order to live a confident, empowered life both on and off the playing field. What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 143. Today is going to be a solo episode where we're going to talk about how to become mentally stronger during injury, and obviously to help you become mentally stronger after your injury, right? So if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, or if you've read my book, you know my story a little bit. But for those of you that are new, I'm going to get into that just a little bit, all right? I'm not going to bore you to death with it. So when I was 12 years old, which is the age of a lot of you guys listening, I tore my ACL. Okay. And before I tore my ACL, I was confident. I was fast. I was one of the fastest girls on the team. And I was in a really good spot. But when I tore my ACL, I tore it at age 12, had surgery at age 13. That is what started what I call my confidence journey. When I started to, develop all of this self-doubt and not be confident and not trust myself and start to question whether I was good enough or not, it all started from my injury. Because at the time when I got injured, I knew I was going to be out for at least 9 months. And in those 9 months, my mindset, granted, I was only 12, so I got to give myself a break. But in those 9 months, my mindset was, you know what? I'm going to get slow. I'm going to lose my touch. I'm not going to be confident. There's no way, I didn't think that there was a way that I could actually improve during that time. Like I knew that I had to work on my strength and my mobility and that kind of stuff in my knee, but there was not a single part of me that thought or even knew it was possible for me to actually become better physically or mentally. So that's what I want to do on this podcast episode for you. Whether you've gone through an injury, whether you're currently going through one, or heck, there's probably a time in your career where you do go through one, whether it's only a week or whether it's 9 months, right? There's probably going to be a time in your career where you have to go through some period of sitting out, right? And I want you to know, I really want you to believe after this episode that that isn't a death sentence, that being injured doesn't mean that you're going to decline. Yes, you're going to be out of shape a little bit. That's a given if you're out for very long, right? But mentally is the biggest thing. Like so many girls that I talk to, the injury, just like in my story, the injury is what started that lack of confidence, what started that self-doubt, right? So after listening to this episode, you will know that that is absolutely not true, that you can actually become mentally stronger than you were before during your injury. Okay. So how do we do that? The first thing is you have to have the right mindset about it, which is exactly what I'm talking about. You have to first believe that you can become mentally stronger, even though you physically cannot do anything. So there's this crazy study that I heard a while back on a podcast, and it's perfect for talking about, injury and not being able to do stuff physically. So they took three groups of basketball players. They took one group who they were basically measuring how they improved at free throws, okay, and visualizing. So one group, they practiced free throw shooting. I think it was over a 2-week period. Don't go double check my work because I could be wrong. But they shot free throws every day over a 2-week period. That was group one. Group two didn't shoot any free throws. They just didn't do anything. They didn't touch a basketball. Okay, group three, they didn't touch a basketball, but they visualized themselves shooting successfully every day for 2 weeks. Okay, so after that 2-week period, they went and they tested them. They all shot their free throws to see, okay, what percentage are they going to increase? So here's the crazy part. The people that shot, practiced every single day, they improved 24%. That's great. That's really good. Okay. People who didn't shoot at all, didn't visualize, you guessed it, they didn't improve at all, 0%. And the people that did not touch a basketball, but they visualized themselves doing it, improved 23%. So only 1% less than the people that actually did it. So what does this mean for injury? This means that if you commit to visualizing and you just visualize yourself playing, you visualize yourself getting healthy, you visualize yourself becoming the player you want to become. If you do that when you're injured, yeah, like I said, you're still going to be out of shape a little bit, but you're not going to decline as much as you would if you didn't visualize, right? I'm not going to get into all the science of visualizing, but just know that that is the number one way that you can become not only mentally stronger when you step back onto the field or court, but you can still regain a lot of that physical skill and still like not go down this huge decline of, self-doubt and I'm not good enough and I'm way behind. So visualizing is key. So how can we make that something very practical for you? One way, let's say you're in the injury. I'm going to talk like you're in the injury process right now. Okay. So obviously you've got therapy, you're working to get your muscles back and everything like that. What you can do in addition to that is, you're still probably going to your practices and going to your games, which is great. The other thing is to visualize. Okay. And let's start very simple, like visualize 3 times a week. And in that visualization, really, really get real with what you want to look like when you get back to the field. How do you want to play? What kind of player do you want to be? What does your communication look like? What does your effort, your confidence look like? Get really, really specific in how you want to play when you step back onto the field, right? So you could go back and visualize like the very first day of you going to step back on the field. What does that look like? Okay. And do that at least 3 times a week. If you want to do it every day, even better. But in my opinion, if you really want to like not take a huge slide down, do this as much as you do your physical rehab. Do this as much as you do your physical rehab. Okay, this is so important. I know it's not the most fun thing in the world to do, but it can be fun if you really stick to it and you really focus on it. So that's number 1, is to visualize. Number 2 is to stay engaged as much as you possibly can with your team. So just because you're injured doesn't mean that you're just going to stay at home and watch Netflix all day. No, you're still a part of the team. Go to practices, go to games, go to the meetings. Okay. And it's not just like showing up and sitting on the sidelines. That's not going to do a whole lot of good other than let the coach know that you're there. But you can get mentally stronger by actually showing up and learning while you're there. Learn what are they working on? What is the coach giving feedback on? How can you have better movement in your game? What are some things technically you can work on in your game? Like doing these things, yes, they're going to help you physically, they're going to help you tactically. And when that helps you technically and tactically, it helps you mentally. Because think about it, if you took 9 months off and you just didn't go to anything and you showed back up on the field, you would be like, oh no, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm so behind. I have no idea what we're talking about. I have no idea what the coach is expecting, none of that. But if you show up and you continue to go to practices and games and learn, then you're going to be comfortable, like, you know what? Yes, I couldn't physically practice, but I know this, like I got this. And that's going to create a tremendous amount of confidence in yourself. Okay. And the last thing, number 3, this is so important. This is something I did not have, is find somebody, whether it's a friend, a mentor, a coach, a family member, find somebody who has been through the injury process. Because the reason why that's so important is because when I was in the injury process, none of my teammates, I was so young that no one had ever been through that before. So I felt like I was completely alone, right? I felt like I was alone. There was no one to talk to there. No one really understood me, right? So it's really important that it doesn't even have to be someone physically in person, right? If you have like a teammate or you have someone that's on an older team, or maybe it's a friend or a cousin or a brother or sister, whatever, that's great. Like find someone that you can just talk to, find someone that you can confide in. And when things get tough, find someone that you can just ask questions or vent to, or really just get mentorship from, right? Or it could be someone that's not physically with you. It could be me, right? You could join our Alpha Girl Collective. It could be a coach. It could be anybody, but find somebody that you can really confide in to help you through the injury process. Because like I said at the beginning, right, is physically getting injured is hard. It's really hard. It's painful. Rehab is painful. But the hardest thing is emotionally. Emotionally, it is one of the most difficult things I ever had to go through. And I felt, yes, I had my parents and my family and my teammates, but it wasn't the same. I didn't have anyone that I could really relate to. I didn't have anyone that I could confide in. And that was so hard, right? So really just find someone, whether it's even on social media, find someone that you can really confide in and talk to when things get tough, because it's not always going to be easy. It's going to be a hard process, but you've got to trust the process. You got to know that where you're at right now is where you're meant to be. So what? Maybe someone else got back faster than you. That's okay. We all have different bodies. We all progress at different rates. So if you feel like you're behind, if you feel like your body's not quite catching up as fast, that's okay. You're exactly where you need to be. Trust your body, trust the process. And before you know it, you will get back onto the field or court. And hopefully, if you do these things we talked about, you will be just as confident, if not more confident, than when you stepped on the field. And also, I just thought of this bonus, like listen to the podcast, read the book, like listen to things. It doesn't have to just be my stuff. Listen to things that are going to improve you mentally. Like read books, listen to podcasts, watch documentaries, meditate, like do all of these things that are going to help you develop, of course, as an athlete, but more importantly, as a person. All right. And speaking of developing as a person, I am putting on a workshop. Actually, it's more like a masterclass for parents and players on July 28th at 5 p.m. I will post the link in the show notes for you to register for that. But really, my goal for this for you is I'm really going to show you and reveal the 3 crucial mistakes that are crushing your confidence and talk about how to fix them so that you can access your limitless potential both on and off the field. So link in the show notes to register for that masterclass, and hope to see you there. If you're listening to this after July 28th, you can still click on it. There will be a replay available for you. So hope to see you there. Hope this episode was helpful. If it was, please share it with someone. Share it with someone who maybe you're not going through the injury process, but somebody else is. So share it with someone that can help. All right, catch you on next week's episode.